I don't know. Angel Reese, she might have tapped out, y'all. Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit on the Chicago Sky. Everybody is speculating. What is this back injury? What's going on? Hey.
Angel Reese just walked out on the Chicago Sky again. No warning, no sugarcoating, just straight up quit. Fans are furious. Teammates are stunned, and the drama is messier than a reality TV reunion. Is this the end of her WNBA run, or the start of her biggest stunt yet? What happened behind the scenes is jaw-dropping, and trust me, you're not ready for it.
The world wants to know. The whole world is wondering, where in the world is Batman? I'm joking. I want to know, us Chicago Sky fans, women's basketball, WNBA, Angel Reese fans, where in the world?
Angel Reese quitting on the Chicago Sky is about as surprising as learning that the sun rises in the east. I called this weeks ago, but now everyone's clutching their pearls like it's the sports scandal of the decade. Please, this isn't a shock. It's just Angel being Angel, fiercely committed to fame, but tragically allergic to actual hard work. She's not here to grind out wins or dive for loose balls. She's here to strut for the cameras, rack up social media likes, and soak in the headlines. The second it's time to put in real effort, she's gone, disappearing faster than a free throw in the fourth quarter when the pressure's on.
I find it very symbolic, very almost funny but not funny. Not funny haha, but funny sad, that out of all the bodily injuries that Angel Reese, a player, could experience, she's experiencing a back injury. Her back is literally hurting. And is it because that she is tired of carrying the weight of the Chicago Sky on her back, being that floor general and that floor leader? Did the Chicago Sky break Angel Reese's back?
This whole Rookie of the Year debate between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, please, that was never close. It was only close in the same way I'm close to buying a $20 million mansion. Purely hypothetical and existing only in the minds of people desperate to sell a juicy narrative. The media kept milking it because drama drives clicks and Clark runs away with it, doesn't get eyeballs. But if we're being honest, Reese's name stayed in the conversation because she's a walking headline. She's loud, she's flashy, she stirs the pot, and that plays well on social media. But the game tape, the stats, they weren't screaming dominance. They were politely whispering maybe next year.
Listen, everybody is ablaze right now. Everybody's wondering, what is really going on with Angel Reese? Has she just flat out quit again? Has she quit on the Chicago Sky? Angel, you gotta be, you have to have some level of self-awareness here. Last year with the Chicago Sky, you quit. You threw in the towel. Once you realized you no longer, you never stood a chance, to be honest, with Caitlin Clark for that Rookie of the Year. But once you realized your double streak was over, and it was over. She took over post-Olympic break. Once you realized it was done.
And you know who I blamed for this whole circus? Everyone who kept propping her up like she was the second coming of basketball greatness for doing the bare minimum. Every commentator who acted like a double-double in garbage time was some once-in-a-generation miracle. Every fan who mistook a few flashy poses and side-eye for actual leadership. You fed the hype machine until it got so big it needed its own jersey number. You turned basic effort into a Hall of Fame moment, and now the Chicago Sky are learning the painful truth. When you hand the keys to someone who doesn't even want to drive, don't be shocked when the whole season ends up parked in a ditch.
Yeah, she did wear the villain role on her sleeve, no doubt about that. She didn't do a lot to help herself when she was winning the NCAA championship last year against Iowa, and she was taunting Caitlin Clark. But did we forget that Caitlin Clark had been doing the same thing to numerous opponents throughout that season last year? That it wasn't until she was humbled in that national championship game against LSU that she dialed it back a little bit? You can't want to be the villain. You can't pride yourself in being the villain and then you lose and all of a sudden you succumb to those emotions. That is true to some degree. But usually when you lose and you have an opportunity to sit back and reflect, there's a mountain of emotions that get heaped on your shoulders and it's hard to hold it in. Not to mention when teammates are coming to your defense because they realize how the insults against you have been so personal.
Chicago isn't home for Angel. It's just Maryland too. 0. Another flashy pit stop on her never-ending Look at Me tour. She's already peeking over the fence for her next LSU. A ready-made, already stacked roster where she can parachute in, let the Real grinders handle the sweat and bruises, and then strike a pose for the victory photos. That's her entire game plan. Skip the foundation work, avoid the blueprints, and slide straight into a moving-ready championship house. She's not the mastermind, the builder, or the engine of success. She's the tenant who shows up after the hard work is done, rearranges the furniture, and then brags about how great her place looks.
Making this something that isn't. She's got a back injury. Like, I'm not going to be out here saying that Angel Reese needs to go out and play through a damn back injury. I just don't think is the case, especially when your team is as bad as it is. Like, absolutely just stinking it up constantly. Like the Chicago Sky.
The Sky screwed themselves by drafting her. They didn't just buy a ticket to the Angel Reese show. They bought season tickets front row for every dramatic exit and every I'm not feeling it moment. And if Reese threw in the towel, you can bet it would take at least 4 tries for it to land anywhere near the court. And yes, I made myself laugh with that one. The truth is, Reese plays basketball for herself, period. Not for her teammates, not for the fans, and definitely not for the franchise. She wants the attention, the endorsement deals, the interviews, the Instagram likes. And when things get hard, poof, she's gone. Caitlin Clark is the complete opposite. You can see it in the way Clark plays. She doesn't need to be the loudest person in the room because she's the one hitting the shots that make the room explode. Meanwhile, Reese is over in the corner checking if the lighting is good for her post-game outfit shot. One of these rookies is building a career. The other is building a brand and hoping nobody notices the difference.
You threw in the towel, said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year. You threw in the towel and said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year and didn't play again. This past the inaugural season of Unrivaled, you didn't even finish that season. You didn't even show up for the championship. No, not only did you not play, you didn't even show up to the game at all. People noticing a pattern with you. That's 2 seasons in a row.
And let's talk about leadership for a second. True leaders carry the weight of the team. They take responsibility when things go wrong and share credit when they go right. She's allergic to accountability. You won't catch her saying, "Yeah, that one's on me." Instead, it's a whole lot of shrugging and side-eye like the problem is everyone else. And to be fair, when your plan is to ride coattails, you can't admit you're the one slowing the horse down. It's no wonder she's looking for her next exit. Chicago needs a builder, not a passenger. But Reese is a permanent passenger. She wants the comfort, the perks, the parade, but not the 6A, workouts or the film sessions. That make champions. And the scary part, she's still going to get more attention for quitting than half the league gets for winning. That's the upside of being a brand-first athlete. The headlines keep coming whether you show up or not. The thing about quitting twice is it stops being a shock and starts becoming your resume. Angel Reese has officially entered the territory where no one's even surprised anymore. You quit on your team once. Okay, maybe there's a story there. Twice. That's who you are. It's not an accident. It's a lifestyle choice. She's basically the WNBA's Houdini, the great disappearing act, except without the mystery.
Listen, Angel Reese has thrown in the towel. She refuses to travel with the team. Once again, the team has a road game. We already saw she refused to travel with the team to Indiana versus the Fever. Now they head to Connecticut to take on the worst team in the league. Yes, they finally went against a team that is worse than them, the Connecticut Sun.
And here's the kicker. Even with all this drama, she'll still find a way to spin it as some big self-care or empowerment moment because that's what plays well on social media. She'll be on a podcast next week talking about how she had to protect her peace. And there will be people eating it up, completely ignoring the fact that her peace was apparently threatened by doing her actual job. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there eating minutes like they're oxygen, taking bumps, drawing double teams, and still delivering. Clark isn't looking for the next LSU. She's trying to build her own dynasty from scratch. Chicago Sky fans deserve better than a player who treats the season like a side hustle. They deserve someone who shows up when the lights are bright and when the arena's half empty. Someone who puts in the work when no one's watching. And Angel Reese, she's not that player. She's the star of her own movie. And unfortunately, the rest of the team is just set decoration. If the Sky were smart, they'd take this as a lesson. Stop drafting based on hype and start drafting based on heart. Because hype fades fast, and heart is what wins you games in the fourth quarter. Hype gets you headlines in July. Heart gets you trophies in September.
Nobody knew what had happened on the day. Nothing had happened. Then somebody got into Angel Reese's ear to say that this happened, and she then doubled and tripled down, saying that something happened even though she didn't hear it herself. And then she's there reposting tweets, or reposting TikToks saying that Gamebridge is dangerous for her, and it's a danger if she goes to Gamebridge, and all of this crap. So Angel is